Alright, finally we are at the After Effects portion of this video tutorial. So welcome to After Effects. I'm using After Effects CS 5.5. You might have a later version, but the principles are still the same. So we're going to have ourselves a new project. And what we're going to do first of all, when you open up After Effects, you can't actually do anything yet in After Effects unless you create a new composition. So we're going to set our composition size, width and height to a 720p. So if you look here, you have this thing here, HDTV 720, 29.97. 29.97 here actually means frame rate, and we know that animation has to deal with 24 frames per second. So you can just punch that in, or if you want to, you can always use a drop down and just choose 24. Now it's asking for a start time code and duration. Start time code is what time the video is going to start, which is we're going to have at 0. And the duration is going to be, I guess we don't need more than really a minute. Right? So I'm going to set this to 1. That's 1 minute. This is how much seconds, and this is how much frames. It's actually hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. That's exactly 1 minute. Background color is going to be black, or you can actually make a different color if you want to. We just leave that black because that's fine. Now for our composition, we can actually call this, I'm going to rename this, what can we call it? Scene. Right, and then we're going to pull in our sprite sheet. If you want to import the file, import, and you can import multiple files. But let's go to the location that our files are located at. That's why they call it location. And somehow find where that is. So I know mine is in my documents folder, and inside my documents I got school folder. And inside the school folder I got this thing called assessments, and then I have my background. So we'll use the background first, and then we'll come to the character afterwards. Right? Because I'm a sprite sheet, and my sprite sheet is here, we can just import all these different things. And we do that. So we have stage.png, scene, mountain, all these different things for this thing. I guess the first thing I can really throw in is the moon. And that's really large. Now, it's big. If we look at the original size of the background that I have though, right, the sky, it's 1028, 1024. Let's see what the original background looked like. So this is my background originally, and everything is large. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scale on a few of my elements here, and I'm gonna hold shift. I'm gonna start putting in the stage because that's the main. So just drag it down here. It's gonna pop up right there. Now my stage is really large. It is excessively large. Right, so I'm gonna go control. Well, let me zoom out. Right. So hit that at 33%. This is really large, so I'm gonna scale that down. And because it's a stage, I want it to be in the foreground. So that's the work with the layers that we've been given. So one stage. I'm gonna leave it like this actually. I could even make it smaller if I wanted. It's really up to you when you're doing this. Put this here. Carry that across like so. Next one, the mountains. Mountains are gonna be in front of the moon. But these are the semi-transparent mountains that we saw before. Right, I'm gonna just leave that there. We have another set of mountains, I'm just gonna drop them in, and that's there as well. If the mountains are too big, too small, you can always scale them up according to your need. So I'm just gonna scale this up because my needs are bigger. Alright, so transparentish mountains, let's hide you for a bit. And we have that and that to deal with. I'm going to start this over here. And that's what it looks like. If we want to put in the sky, right? So here we have the moon on the lowest layer. That's why it's not so accessible. So select it and you can scale that down as well. All right, nice. Now the sky looks like this. I'm going to throw that in there behind the moon, and I'll just scale it in. Right, so that's all up to you now. So the sky, I'm not going to move the sky, so I'm going to lock this layer. If you look over here on the left side, you have inside the layers, it's a padlock here. Just hit that padlock and you can lock that layer. Same thing for the moon. I don't need to move that. And the stage, I'm not going to move anything else for now. I'm going to position the cloud. That is definitely not a cloud. That is a rock. So I'll rename that to rock. Cool. So this rock can actually just fall somewhere there on the stage. Doesn't have to be special or nothing. I'll put it back below the stage itself so it fits nicely. I can do more than that. Control D, duplicate it, and I can create one more rock. Right, so that's 2 rocks. Amazing, 1 rock, 2 rocks. What's next? Now we have clouds in the sky, so let's pull out a few of those. Here's one. Now this cloud we want in front of everything. So that's 1 cloud. And I'm not really following the way my background looked before. I'm just doing stuff. Next, cloud 3. Boom. It's not a cloud, but the cloud can't be there. Cloud has to be all the way in the back though. So on the sky, but in front of the moon. It's behind the mountain. Too large, shrink it. Make sure you hold shift so that you constrain the proportions. Do that. Some of these. Right. Cloud number 4. Let's do that there. Pull this here. Get that here. Control D. Pull that down. Ta-da! Next, fog 1. That's gonna go in front of the stage because that's my fog. It looks nice. That's why. This fog is gonna be a thing that goes across the screen. Right, so everything's been set up. Remember foreground, midground, background, and you have fog 2, which looks a little like this. It's gonna go behind the stage. Let's have that little atmosphere. Hold shift, constrain your proportions. Ta-da. Maybe we should just flip them. This goes here and that goes there. If you accidentally double click on something, it's actually showing you the original file. So now let's close that and go back to the composition file. Now for the next piece. You click on that. What you will see, well, right now, the opacity is all at 100%. Now that we set up our scene and it looks decent, you'll probably start noticing that for every element, right here, this shows you how long the layers last, right? We're not going to get into too much of that right now, but what you need to know is how to position your elements. Now, there are quite a bit of elements here, and some things are dependent on some things, right? For example, your fog might be moving differently from your stage. The rocks in the background of your stage might move a little slower. You also have the mountains moving a little bit slower, and the clouds definitely moving slow, and the moon probably isn't going to move too much. Right? So what we want to do is create what we call controllers or null objects. And from the null objects, what we're going to do is parent certain elements that are on the same layer onto the stage so that when we move things, then you can kind of see how things are moving. There's multiple ways you could do this. Right now we're working with one plane, no three-dimensional nothing. Right, we could work with a 3D plane, but I'll spare you those details for now. Right. So let's proceed, shall we? Right, so I'm going to create a new null object. Like I said, the null object is going to control certain elements of this thing. So we're going to work with the foreground element first. I'm going to rename this null object null, or I'm going to call it fg underscore null. You can call it whatever you want. So I'm going to create a bunch of them. I'm going to just move this null object up here so that it doesn't affect what I select down here. Now I want the fog to be moving the fastest, right? So you kind of want to parent your fog to your null object. Let me show you what happens. If I were to lock everything except fog, I could move fog as freely as I wanted. Right? First one is set the initial position first. And what I'll do, if I parent my null object or my fog to my null object, when I move my null object, I can move my fog. Ta-da! Amazing. It's going to be really easy to set this up. Watch. Why, hello there, Michael. Would you like to say hello to me? Hello. Yes. All right, let's continue. So this thing is fg null. So the foreground elements we're going to leave there. I have fog, right? Let's make this bigger, right? Like I said, there's multiple ways you could do this. Foreground elements are going to be moving faster than background elements. So I'm going to set up my foreground elements. I kind of want the stage to be moving at a certain speed as well. So one, foreground controls that thing, right? And I'm going to create another one. Let's duplicate this null object. And it has no children. So I'm going to put them like this. No children, no dependencies. So I'm just going to layer them out like this. And I'll rename them. Oops. So I'm going to have 5 different layers. It's going to be the most front layer and further on behind. So let's say I'm dealing with this. Rename BG clouds. Now I'll see this here. Here, BG underscore mountain. MG rocks. Rename FG stage. And finally, FG fog. Let's play. Alright, so as to not confuse you too much, what I'm going to do is work with them layer by layer. So like I said, the highest things are going to go on the highest layers, so the top ones. So what we'll do is, because I have this selected, I'll just pull my fog, this one, into this thing. And it tells you that that's the child, or right now, the parent of this thing is here. So if I move this, it's going to move my fog. Of course, I must only move my fog left and right. So we'll deal with that after we set up everything. Then the stage. We want this stage to be the child of this thing. So stage that thing. Cool. Then we have another fog here. And this fog in the background, we have two. One and two. Alright, rocks in the midground. Fling them in there. Rocks. Rocks. And also, I might just throw the fog in there as well, so that they all move together as one. You have the mountains in the background. That's one mountain and a second one. Now if this second one is too bright and you want to lower it in terms of its opacity, you can always hit that little triangle there and expand the transform options and change opacity to less. Right? So I'll work with that for now. So I might have two different mountains, BG mountain 1, BG mountain 2. So I'll just do the second one. And this one is going to be parented to this thing. Right, so I have two mountains. But I might undo that. Reason being because I want to be able to see each of them separate. So let's just move those out of the way first. So none for everything. That way when I move it, there are no errors. So I'm just going to do it again. You want to call it reiteration or repractice. That's great. So this is going to be the highest one. This one's going to be mountain 2. Right? And then we continue from there. So fog. Going to control the foreground fog. Stage. Controlled by the stage. And we have this other one, fog 1. It's going to go with the rocks. The rocks. The rocks. Right? We have mountain 1. This mountain, that would be this one here, is going to go with this stuff. That's fine. This stuff. Ah, this one is the one for this mountain. That one. So when this moves, that transparent movement happens. This one now is for this other mountain. Right, just to not confuse, I just push down. That way it's a little easier. Then we have the clouds. Cloud, 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 another cloud, another cloud, more clouds. So if we click the clouds here, the clouds, all these clouds are gonna move. And nothing else is gonna move. So basically we can start now. So at the end of the day, these are gonna be like lined up kind of like a gradient. So this is foreground stuff. This is gonna be the furthest one. And then it's gonna kind of like this afterwards. Let's begin. Alright, so the first thing first. For each of these things here that we have, these null objects, the ones in red, you're gonna set a keyframe for their position. So I'm gonna highlight all of these. So click the first one, hold shift, click the last one, and just hit P. It's gonna bring up the position attribute for the layers, and just hit that time vary stopwatch. That stopwatch allows you to put in a keyframe, or actually use keyframes. If I were to click them again, it will delete all the keyframes. So if I had this, and I did something like this, and move something, stuff, if I press it again, it's gonna delete all my keyframes. So be careful how you use that. So you want at the first part, and you want one at the last. So like we said, we're going like 30 seconds to a minute, it's fine. So let's go 1 minute, since that's what the length of the video is going to be, or even 30 seconds is fine too. So because I had initially 1 minute, I'm just gonna right click here. I'm gonna trim this, that up, work area down, hold shift to snap it, and it's gonna go 30 seconds. Right click, trim come to work area. That's gonna shrink it down to 30 seconds. First frame, last frame. Here's how this works. Once the keyframe is set up, all you simply need to do is go to the time you want it to move and just move it. So if we go here, we want foreground to move the fastest. So I'm going to pull this over like so. I'm going to hold shift as well so it maintains its proportions. It's going to move like that. So we have so far is this. Oh, oops, caps lock is off. It's going to move like this. Simple. Now the last one, the next one, FG stage. Well, not that, this one. FG stage has stage. Right, all right, fine. I think we messed up a little bit, but that is not to any consequence. So fog is moving. Stage should have actually been up here though. So let me kind of remove that. I don't want to confuse you. All right, cool. So this one is for the stage. I'm gonna move you up. The rest of these guys don't want to. Here's what we just work with what we have. Foreground, stage. If stage moves, nothing happens. That's because stage doesn't have a child yet. So let's hit stage, pull that up, and you want to just move this across. Not too far as that one. You cannot offset it. It's gonna look like this. Right? So if you want it to move slower, you can have it that. But notice the offset, the parallax, it's like this. What's next? These rocks. So you want the rocks to move slightly slower than the stage itself. So what do? Rocks. So the rocks are gonna move just a smidge faster, just like that, not too far. It's almost like it's a part of it, but it's not. Then the mountains slightly move over like so. Now because mountains are usually far in the background, you don't want to move it too fast. So it's gonna have a little offset. And last but not least, and it's coming together nicely, don't you think? We have mountains too, which when we move this, there's a little thing there. Right, cool. So this mountain is actually in front, so we're gonna move that behind so it doesn't show up in front. And the last bit we have are the clouds. Where are they? Clouds. Now clouds are there. Just gonna have them move over a little bit, like so. And we're done. So I'm gonna just, show you what this looks like. Just gonna hide all these things. Right. So the only thing that really moved are those. And if we were to scope. Ready? Alright. Just hit 0 on your numpad. And you can see how nicely that just starts moving all parallaxically. No such word. But we can still see that mountain in front, which is kind of pestering to me. The sky is moving, the clouds are moving, right? So let me fix the mountain thing. It's in front, want it behind. Do that. That's great. And don't forget to save your project, right? That's one thing you don't want to forget to do. So let me throw this back where it's supposed to go. My document, school, tools 1, background. Parallax. Another thing about After Effects, it doesn't actually store your files inside the project. So I recommend whenever you move your After Effects project file, you have to move everything that was in there because it's just pulling the files from the location. It's not storing the files inside the project itself. So if, for instance, if you move it and you move one of these or delete it, what's going to happen is that nothing's going to show up. It's going to be looking for the file. And if you can't find the file, then you are salted. All right, so that's the parallax. What I can probably do, show you something cool. They call it After Effects for a reason. So on the moon, I'm going to apply an effect. I'll just put a glow on there, G-L-O-W, just throw it on the moon. And you will start seeing a little glow around there, right? It's only glow as far as the thing itself. So that's the thing. To increase intensity, or even the glow radius, only gonna go as far as that block right there. Can be problematic, but you can always add stuff. Increase the glow radius, and all those fancy little things. Right? So I hope you learned something from it. Let's play this again. I want to show you how to add music, so I'm gonna do that real quick, just as a little bonus. If you're bored, you simply just need to file, import your file. If it's music, it is. Let's look in an archive. I think I like. Let's see. It shows me just a few files I have. Let's see. Royalty free. Kevin McLeod. Props to you, sir. Props to you. All of the Mountain King. So I'll just drop that in there. That's it. Drop it in there. It starts playing. Hit 0. It's gonna cache. It means it's gonna load the frames up into your memory so that you can play it seamlessly. And I don't know if you can hear it, but let me turn up the volume and I hit play. It's basically that song I was done. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this Parallax tutorial. Hope you, yeah, whatever. I hope you got some out of it. I hope it wasn't too difficult. If you have any issues, you should know how to reach me. Ta-da! So the next part of this tutorial is actually rigging a character in After Effects and probably having it walk across the screen or seemingly walk across the screen. Ta-da! And file, save. Thank you for watching again. God bless you.